The Rothschilds have been one of the wealthiest families since immemorial. However, this family's secrets are as deep and vast as their wealth. Secrets of them being in one of the sects that control the global economics and affairs of the world, which they have tried to deny. For a family that has been blamed for starting and funding wars and assassinating presidents, are we safe? The powerhouse of the world. The Rothschild family, originating from Frankfurt, Germany, has been a symbol of immense wealth and power for centuries. Their banking empire, established in the late 18th century by Mayer Amschel Rothschild, quickly expanded across Europe. By the 19th century, the Rothschilds had branches in major cities like London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples, making them one of the most influential families in the world. But their influence wasn't limited to finance. The Rothschilds have long been rumored to be part of various secret societies. One of the most persistent claims is their involvement with the Illuminati, a secret society allegedly founded in 1776. The Illuminati is said to have aimed at controlling world affairs by infiltrating governments and corporations, a goal that aligns with the Rothschilds' extensive influence. The Rothschilds' connections don't stop there. They have been linked to the Freemasons, another secretive organization with a long history. The Freemasons are known for their secret rituals and influential members, including politicians, business leaders, and even royalty. The Rothschilds' alleged involvement with the Freemasons further cements their reputation as power brokers behind the scenes. In the 20th century, the Rothschilds' influence continued to grow. They were associated with the Dutch and British royal families, the Vatican, and the Rockefellers. These connections suggest a network of power that spans continents and institutions, making the Rothschilds a key player in global affairs. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Rothschilds' legacy is their alleged involvement in the Bilderberg Group. Founded in 1954, the Bilderberg Group is a secretive organization that holds annual meetings attended by some of the world's most powerful people. The Rothschilds' extensive network and historical connections to various secret societies make them a prime candidate for involvement in the Bilderberg Group. Their influence in finance, politics, and media aligns with the group's alleged goals, raising questions about the extent of their power and control. The origins of the Bilderberg Group can be traced back to 1954, a time when the world was gripped by Cold War tensions. It all began with Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, who envisioned a forum where influential leaders from Europe and North America could come together to foster dialogue and cooperation. The first meeting took place at the Hotel de Bilderberg in Oosterbeek, Netherlands, giving the group its now infamous name. It was founded to bridge the divide between Europe and North America and to promote mutual understanding in a world teetering on the brink of nuclear conflict. Attendees included political leaders, business magnates, and intellectuals, all handpicked for their influence and expertise. The idea was to create an aristocracy of purpose, a term coined to describe the elite nature of the group and its lofty ambitions. From the very beginning, the Bilderberg Group operated under a veil of secrecy. Meetings were held behind closed doors with no press coverage allowed and no official statements released. This cloak of confidentiality was designed to encourage open and frank discussions free from the scrutiny of the public eye. In the 1960s and 1970s, the group held meetings in places like Saltsjöbaden, Sweden, hosted by the Wallenberg family, who had an estimated fortune of $10 billion. The Rothschilds, another powerful family, also hosted several meetings in Europe. These gatherings were chaired by Prince Bernhard until 1976, when he resigned due to his involvement in the Lockheed aircraft bribery scandal. The significance of these early meetings cannot be overstated. For instance, at the 1971 meeting in Woodstock, Virginia, the group discussed the changing role of the United States in the world. Following this meeting, Henry Kissinger was sent to Red China to open trade relations, leading to an international monetary crisis and the devaluation of the dollar by 8.57%. This move benefited those who had converted their assets to the European currency. In 1976, the group hosted 15 representatives from the Soviet Union in the Arizona desert. It is believed that during this meeting, plans were formulated for the eventual breakup of communism in the Soviet Union. By 1978, the group predicted a global depression and the death of the dollar. Their proposed solution was the introduction of an international bancor system, a universal currency that would be accepted worldwide. These early meetings laid the groundwork for the Bilderberg Group's long-term influence on global policies. The discussions and decisions made during these gatherings have had far-reaching consequences, affecting everything from international trade to the geopolitical landscape. The Bilderberg Group's influence on public policy and historical events is both profound and unsettling. One of the most striking examples is the Goals 2000 Inches program, developed during the presidency of George H.W. Bush. This initiative, born at the 1960 1970 meeting in Bad Ragaz, Switzerland, aimed to overhaul the US public school system. The goal was to shift the focus from national ambitions to the idea of an international community, effectively indoctrinating children to see themselves as world citizens. In 1990, at a meeting in Glen Cove, Long Island, the group decided that taxes needed to be raised to pay off debts owed to international bankers. This decision led to one of the biggest tax increases in US history, signed by President George H.W. Bush, despite his campaign pledge of no new taxes. This move was a significant factor in his defeat in the subsequent election. The group's influence was also evident at their 1991 meeting in Baden-Baden, Germany. They discussed plans for a common European currency and central banking, as well as reviewing Middle Eastern events and developments in the Soviet Union. David Rockefeller, a key figure in the group, expressed gratitude to major publications like the Washington Post and the New York Times for respecting their promises of discretion. He stated, "It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity during these years." The Bilderberg Group's impact on public policy and historical events is undeniable. Their secretive meetings have shaped the course of global politics, economics, and education, often without the public's knowledge or consent. The group's ability to influence such significant aspects of our world underscores the vast reach of their power. Central to their plans is the role of NATO. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization is seen as a crucial instrument in maintaining global stability and enforcing the group's vision. By leveraging NATO's military power, the Bilderberg Group aims to create an aristocracy of purpose that can effectively manage international affairs. This would involve not just political and military cooperation, but also economic integration and resource control. The group's objectives also include the creation of a central bank that would regulate a global currency. This idea echoes the sentiments of the Rothschild family, who famously said, "Give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes its laws." The Bilderbergers believe that by controlling the world's money supply, they can exert significant influence over global politics and economies. One of the key elements of the Bilderberg meetings is the Chatham House Rule. Under this rule, participants are free to use the information shared during the meetings, but they cannot reveal the identity or affiliation of the speakers. This allows for a more open exchange of ideas, as attendees can speak frankly without fear of being quoted or identified. However, it also means that the public remains largely in the dark about what is discussed and decided behind closed doors. The secrecy surrounding the Bilderberg meetings has led to numerous conspiracy theories and speculations about the group's true intentions. Some believe that the Bilderbergers are orchestrating a global agenda, manipulating world events from behind the scenes. Others see the meetings as a necessary platform for high-level dialogue and cooperation among the world's elite. Regardless of one's perspective, there is no denying the immense influence and power wielded by the Bilderberg Group. Their ability to bring together such a diverse and influential group of individuals year after year speaks to their significant role in shaping global affairs. Another compelling piece of evidence is the Rothschilds' connection to the Rockefellers, another powerful family often linked to the Bilderberg Group. In 2012, the Rothschild and Rockefeller families announced a partnership in the area of wealth management. The Rothschilds' involvement in global financial institutions further supports their alleged connection to the Bilderberg Group. For instance, the Rothschild family has been linked to the International Crisis Group, an organization funded by George Soros, Rupert Murdoch, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. The International Crisis Group's activities align with the Bilderberg Group's focus on shaping global policies and maintaining stability. The family has also been linked to various media outlets, including Reuters and the Associated Press. This control over information aligns with the Bilderberg Group's alleged goal of influencing public opinion and shaping global narratives. By controlling major media outlets, the Rothschilds can ensure that their interests are protected and promoted on a global scale. The Rothschilds' influence extends to the highest levels of government and politics. For example, Rothschild agent George Soros has been involved in various financial and political activities that align with the interests of the Bilderberg Group. Soros funded the cadre investment firm alongside Jared Kushner, who has ties to the Blackstone Group, another entity linked to the Rothschilds. One of the most common criticisms is that the Bilderberg Group is an undemocratic cabal that seeks to manipulate global events for the benefit of its members. The idea that a small group of powerful individuals can gather behind closed doors to discuss and potentially influence global policies is unsettling to many. This lack of transparency fuels suspicions that the group is orchestrating a global agenda, often referred to as the New World Order. Despite these sensational claims, there is no credible evidence to support the idea that the Rothschilds are involved in the Bilderberg Group, or that the group itself has any nefarious intentions. The Rothschild family has consistently denied any involvement with the Bilderberg group, dismissing these theories as baseless. If the Rothschilds are indeed part of this secretive organization, it suggests that a small elite group of individuals holds disproportionate power over world events. This concentration of power can have far-reaching consequences, affecting everything from economic policies to political decisions and media narratives. Nation builders. Speaking about influence, the Rothschild influence spreads far and wide as far as building nations. The Rothschild family story begins in the late 18th century with Meyer Amschel Rothschild, a Jewish banker in Frankfurt. Meyer's 5 sons established banking dynasties across Europe, creating a network of financial powerhouses in London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt. This network amassed immense wealth and influence, setting the stage for its future impact on global events. In the late 19th century, Baron Edmond de Rothschild, a member of the French branch of the family, became deeply involved in the Zionist movement. The Zionist movement, led by Theodor Herzl, aimed to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Edmond's commitment to this cause was both passionate and financially substantial. In 1882, Edmond began funding Jewish settlements in Palestine. He financed the establishment of agricultural colonies such as Rishon LeZion, Zikron Yaakov, and Rosh Pina. These early settlements were crucial in laying the groundwork for what would eventually become the State of Israel. Edmond's contributions extended beyond financial support. He provided agricultural expertise and industrial knowledge, ensuring the success and sustainability of these communities. The family's influence reached a critical point during World War I. The British government issued the Balfour Declaration in 1917, expressing support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Theodor Herzl's publication of The Jews' State in 1896 ignited the Zionist movement, advocating for a Jewish homeland in Palestine. This idea gained traction among Jews facing rampant anti-Semitism in Europe. Meanwhile, the British Empire had its eyes on Palestine for strategic reasons. The region's location was crucial for maintaining British influence in the Middle East. By the early 20th century, geopolitical tensions were rising. The Ottoman Empire, which controlled Palestine, was weakening. Britain saw an opportunity to expand its influence. Evangelical Christians in Britain also supported the idea of Jews returning to their ancient homeland, believing it fulfilled biblical prophecy. This mix of politics and religion set the stage for a monumental decision. Enter Chaim Weizmann, a passionate Zionist leader who tirelessly lobbied British officials, including Arthur Balfour and the influential Rothschild family. The Rothschilds, particularly Charles and Walter, were deeply involved in the Zionist movement. Their connections and influence were crucial in getting the British government to consider the Zionist cause. As World War I raged on, the British War Cabinet, led by Prime Minister Lloyd George, faced a dire situation. They needed allies and saw the Zionist movement as a potential asset. In the early 1917, discussions about supporting a Jewish homeland in Palestine began to take shape. The Zionists, however, were unaware of the secret Sykes-Picot Agreement, which divided the Middle East between Britain and France. By mid-1917, the British government was deep in discussions about how to secure Zionist support. The stakes were high, and every word in the declaration would be scrutinized. Behind the scenes, Lionel Walter Rothschild, the second Baron Rothschild, played a crucial role in securing this declaration. As a close friend of Arthur Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary, Lionel used his influence to advocate for the Zionist cause. Chaim Weizmann and Lord Rothschild submitted a draft of the declaration to the British War Cabinet. This draft went through multiple revisions with input from various influential figures, including Lord Milner and Leo Amery. The wording was carefully crafted to balance support for a Jewish national home with the need to avoid alienating non-Jewish communities in Palestine. The British War Cabinet, led by Prime Minister Lloyd George and Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour, was keenly aware of the geopolitical implications. They wanted to ensure that the declaration would garner support from Jews worldwide, particularly in the United States and Russia. President Woodrow Wilson of the United States was favorable towards the Zionist movement, and his support was seen as crucial. In June and July of 1917, the decision to prepare a declaration in support of Zionism was finalized. The draft was meticulously reviewed and revised to address concerns within the British cabinet. The term national home was chosen instead of state to accommodate opposition and to avoid committing to the creation of a Jewish state outright. On October 31, 1917, the British War Cabinet approved the final version of the declaration. It was a momentous decision, reflecting a complex interplay of political, strategic, and humanitarian considerations. The declaration was then sent to Lord Rothschild, who represented the Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland. The Balfour Declaration was officially issued on November 2, 1917. It stated that the British government viewed with favour the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine and would use its best endeavours to facilitate this objective. However, it also included a safeguard clause to protect the civil and religious rights of non-Jewish communities in Palestine. The declaration was published in the press a week later, coinciding with the British military capture of Palestine and the leaking of the previously secret Sykes-Picot Agreement. The world was stunned. The Zionists celebrated it as a monumental step towards their dream of a Jewish homeland, while the Palestinian Arab community saw it as a betrayal. The Balfour Declaration was a significant milestone in the Zionist movement, and the Rothschild family's involvement was pivotal. Their financial support, political connections, and unwavering dedication to the establishment of a Jewish homeland laid the groundwork for the eventual creation of the State of Israel. The Rothschild family's involvement in the establishment of the State of Israel reached its zenith in the mid-20th century. As the dream of a Jewish homeland became a reality, the Rothschilds played a crucial role in supporting the nascent state during its formative years. In 1948, the State of Israel was officially established. The Rothschild family's contributions to this historic event were undeniable. Their financial support, political influence, and dedication to the Zionist cause were critical in making the dream of a Jewish homeland a reality. The Rothschilds' extensive network and resources provided the fledgling state with much-needed stability and support. In the same vein, the Rothschilds played an instrumental role in the independence of Brazil from Portugal in the 19th century. In the early 1800s, Brazil was a sprawling colony under Portuguese rule. The Napoleonic Wars had thrown Europe into chaos, forcing the Portuguese royal family to flee to Brazil and making Rio de Janeiro the new capital of the Portuguese Empire. This move set the stage for Brazil's eventual quest for independence. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the Rothschild family was rising to prominence. Known for their immense wealth and unparalleled influence, the Rothschilds had established themselves as financial titans in Europe. Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the head of the London branch, was particularly influential, with connections to various royal families and governments. Their early financial activities included funding wars, stabilizing economies, and lending money to monarchs, making them a powerhouse in the world of finance. By 1822, Brazil's push for independence reached a critical point. Dom Pedro I, the son of the Portuguese king, boldly declared Brazil's independence and crowned himself emperor. However, this newfound freedom came with a hefty price tag. Portugal demanded a massive indemnity of £2 million to recognize Brazil's independence, which seemed insurmountable for the young nation. Desperate for funds, the Brazilian government turned to the Rothschilds for help. Nathan Mayer Rothschild saw a golden opportunity and agreed to lend Brazil the money. But this wasn't just a simple loan. The Rothschilds imposed conditions that would give them significant control over Brazil's financial affairs. They would not only finance the indemnity, but also manage Brazil's debt and oversee the country's financial policies. This deal was a game changer. With the Rothschilds' financial backing, Brazil was able to pay off Portugal and secure its independence. The Rothschilds' involvement didn't stop there. Their influence extended beyond the initial loan as they became the de facto bankers of the Brazilian Empire. They played a crucial role in shaping Brazil's financial infrastructure, ensuring that their investment would yield long-term benefits. After settling the indemnity, Brazil focused on nation building. The Rothschilds' loan, however, granted them significant control over financial policies. They invested in railways, mining, and agriculture, shaping Brazil's economic landscape. Their influence extended to infrastructure development, connecting the vast country through railways and tapping into its natural resources. The ongoing financial relationship between Brazil and the Rothschilds was mutually beneficial. For Brazil, the Rothschilds' financial expertise and resources were invaluable in stabilizing the economy and fostering growth. For the Rothschilds, Brazil represented a lucrative opportunity to expand their global financial network and increase their wealth and influence. And just like Brazil, the Rothschild funded Cecil Rhodes in the creation of the African colony of Rhodesia. Cecil Rhodes was born on July 5, 1853, in Bishop Stortford, England. From a young age, Rhodes exhibited an insatiable curiosity and ambition that would later define his life. At just 17, he was sent to South Africa to join his brother Herbert, who was working in the cotton fields. However, it wasn't long before Rhodes's attention shifted to the burgeoning diamond industry in Kimberley. By 1871, Rhodes had staked his claim in the diamond fields, and his business acumen quickly set him apart. He founded the De Beers Mining Company, which would go on to dominate the diamond market. But diamonds were just the beginning for Rhodes. He harbored a grand vision of expanding the British Empire across Africa, from the Cape to Cairo. Rhodes's ambitions were not limited to wealth. He sought political power and influence. He believed that the British were destined to rule, and that it was his mission to bring as much of the world under British control as possible. This vision required immense resources, and Rhodes knew he needed powerful allies to achieve his goals. As Cecil Rhodes's ambitions grew, so did his need for substantial financial backing. Enter the Rothschild family, one of the wealthiest and most influential banking dynasties dynasties in the world. Nathaniel, 1st Baron Rothschild, was particularly interested in Rhodes's ventures. The Rothschilds had a keen eye for lucrative investments, and Rhodes's vision of a British-controlled Africa presented a golden opportunity. In the 1880s, Rhodes approached Nathaniel Rothschild with a proposal that would change the course of history. He offered the Rothschilds a stake in his diamond and gold mining enterprises in exchange for financial support. The Rothschilds, recognizing the potential for immense profits and geopolitical influence, agreed to fund Rhodes's endeavors. With Rothschild's money, Rhodes established the British South Africa Company in 1889. This company was granted a royal charter by Queen Victoria, giving it the authority to administer and develop territories in southern Africa. The Rothschilds' investment wasn't just about financial returns, it was also about expanding their influence and securing valuable resources. The actions of Cecil Rhodes and the Rothschilds had far-reaching consequences. While they achieved their goals of wealth and power, they also left a legacy of inequality and unrest that continues to impact the region to this day. The long-term effects of Rhodes's colonization efforts are still evident today. Zimbabwe and Zambia, the two nations that emerged from the former Rhodesia, continue to grapple with issues of land reform, economic development, and social justice. Family secrets and conspiracies. As much as the Rothschild family is influential and wealthy, they have family secrets and traditions that do not necessarily sit well with the public. The family has a strange rule for all Rothschild children to marry within the family to keep the wealth consolidated. This was not just a suggestion, but a mandate. The first significant instance of this practice was the marriage between Nathan Mayer Rothschild and Hannah Barrett Cohen, his cousin. Nathan, who founded the London branch of the Rothschild banking empire, solidified the family's financial power in England through this union. Another early example is the marriage of Lionel de Rothschild to his cousin Charlotte von Rothschild in 1836. Lionel was the son of Nathan Mayer Rothschild, and Charlotte was the daughter of Karl Mayer von Rothschild, who established the family's banking business in Naples. This marriage further strengthened the family's financial and social ties across Europe, ensuring that the Rothschild fortune remained within the family. These early instances of intermarriage set the precedent for future generations, creating a tightly knit family network that controlled vast amounts of wealth and influence across the continent. The Rothschild family's practice of intermarriage was driven by a desire to preserve and consolidate their immense wealth and influence. Meyer Amschel Rothschild understood that by keeping marriages within the family, they could ensure that their financial empire remained intact and under their control. This strategy was not just about money, it was about maintaining power and influence across Europe. In modern times, the Rothschild family's approach to marriage has evolved significantly. While the tradition of intermarriage played a crucial role in consolidating their wealth and influence in the past, the family has gradually adapted to changing social norms and legal landscapes. One of the most notable shifts occurred in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. The Rothschilds began to marry outside the family, reflecting a broader acceptance of diverse social connections and alliances. This change was partly driven by the recognition that the old practice of intermarriage was no longer necessary to maintain their financial empire, which had already been firmly established. For example, in 1966, Sir Evelyn de Rothschild married Victoria Lou Schott, an American who was not related to the Rothschild family. Sir Evelyn's marriage was followed by other similar unions, further demonstrating the family's willingness to embrace change. In 2003, Kate Emma Rothschild, a descendant of the English branch of the family, married Ben Goldsmith, member of another wealthy and influential family. The evolution of the Rothschild family's approach to marriage has also been influenced by the changing roles of women within the family. Historically, Rothschild females were often not considered for inheritance unless they married within the family. This rule ensured that the family's wealth remained concentrated among the male heirs. However, in recent years, the family has become more progressive, allowing women to play a more significant role in the family's business and inheritance. For instance, Ariane de Rothschild, the wife of Benjamin de Rothschild, has taken on a prominent role in the family's business affairs. As the CEO of Edmund de Rothschild Group, she has been instrumental in modernizing the family's banking operations and expanding their global reach. And as the family's wealth and influence grew, so did the conspiracy theories. One of the earliest claims was that the Rothschilds were involved in financing wars. Historical records have shown that the Rothschilds played a role in financing various conflicts. This is especially true of the Rothschild family's alleged connection to the funding of the Holocaust. This theory is rooted in anti-Semitic beliefs that Jews control the world's money supply, and the Rothschilds, being one of the most prominent Jewish families, became an easy target for such accusations. The claim suggests that the Rothschilds funded the Holocaust, a horrific genocide orchestrated by the Nazi regime during World War II. However, this theory is entirely false and lacks any factual basis. The Holocaust was a systematic state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime and its collaborators. There is no evidence to suggest that the Rothschild family had any involvement in funding or supporting these atrocities. The origins of this conspiracy theory can be traced back to the broader anti-Semitic sentiment that has plagued Jewish communities for centuries. The Rothschilds, due to their immense wealth and influence, were often scapegoated and blamed for various global events. However, the Rothschilds were victims of Nazi persecution themselves, with many family members fleeing Europe to escape the horrors of the Holocaust. The Rothschild family's alleged involvement in assassinating US presidents. This theory has been particularly persistent and has captivated the imaginations of conspiracy theorists for decades. One of the most famous accusations involves President Abraham Lincoln. Some believe that the Rothschilds were behind his assassination because he opposed the idea of a central bank, which they supposedly wanted to control. However, historical evidence points to John Wilkes Booth and his co-conspirators as the real culprits behind Lincoln's assassination. Booth, a well-known actor and Confederate sympathizer, shot Lincoln at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. on April 14, 1865. There is no credible evidence linking the Rothschild family to this tragic event. The claim that the Rothschilds orchestrated Lincoln's assassination is an unfounded conspiracy theory with no credible evidence. Another US president often mentioned in these conspiracy theories is John F. Kennedy. Some claim that the Rothschilds orchestrated his assassination due to his efforts to reduce the power of the Federal Reserve, which they allegedly controlled. However, the official investigation led by the Warren Commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in assassinating Kennedy on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. Again, there is no concrete evidence to support the theory that the Rothschild family was involved in this assassination. Let's shift our focus to the current financial status and influence of the Rothschild family. While the Rothschilds were once one of the world's most significant financial powers, their wealth and control are not as extensive as many conspiracy theories suggest. The Rothschild family's wealth began accumulating in the 1700s, and since then the family has grown to include hundreds of descendants. This dispersion means there is no longer any centralized Rothschild family wealth. The closest thing to a Rothschild family business today is the Rothschild Group, a multinational investment banking company. However, this firm needs to generate more income to back up the exaggerated claims about the family's wealth. In 2015, the Rothschild Group's annual revenue was approximately $500 million US. For comparison, the world's largest company, Walmart, has an annual revenue of nearly $500 billion US. This stark difference highlights the exaggeration in claims that the Rothschilds control vast amounts of the world's wealth. One of the most persistent myths is that the Rothschild family has a net worth of $500 trillion US and owns 80% of the world's wealth. However, these figures are grossly exaggerated. The world's total wealth was estimated to be $250 trillion US in 2015, making it impossible for the Rothschilds to possess such an enormous share. Furthermore, only one member of the Rothschild family, Benjamin de Rothschild, was included in Forbes' 2015 list of the world's billionaires. He was ranked at number 1,121 with a net worth of $1.61 billion US. While this is still a significant amount of money, it pales in comparison to the exaggerated claims about the family's wealth and influence. In reality, the Rothschild family no longer wields the same sort of influence over global affairs as they did in centuries past. While they remain wealthy and influential, their power is not as far-reaching as conspiracy theories suggest. This is all we have for you in this video. If you enjoyed watching it and would love to keep exploring more exciting videos like this, then go ahead and click on any of the cards on your screen.